A damaged Mercedes GT3, a front end on the edge of failure, and Max Verstappen pushing it flat out on the most dangerous track in the world. This should have been over in seconds. Any other driver? Any other team? They would have retired immediately. But that's not what happened. Because after a critical failure, after the car was dragged into the garage, they made a decision that shocked the entire paddock. They sent him back out. No guarantees. No certainty. Just risk. And what happened next? Nobody expected. Overtakes. Aggression. A comeback that didn't make sense. All during one of the most brutal race weekends of the year, where everything was already going wrong. This wasn't just driving. This was something else. And the final moment of this story is the reason even Formula One couldn't believe it. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not with this car. Not on this track. And definitely not after everything that had already gone wrong. Because Verstappen didn't arrive at the Nürburgring just to participate. He came with a purpose. A long-term goal. The 24-hour race ahead. That was the target. This weekend was preparation. Data. Experience. Understanding the car in the most extreme conditions possible. And for a moment, it actually looked perfect. Friday was clean. No issues. No instability. Everything working exactly as expected. The kind of start every team wants. But here's the problem. At the Nordschleife, a perfect start usually hides something. Something you haven't discovered yet. Something waiting. And Verstappen knows that. He understands this track better than most people realize. Because it doesn't punish mistakes immediately. It lets them build. Slowly. Quietly. Until it's too late. And that's exactly what this weekend started to become. Saturday introduced pressure. A penalty dropped the car down the grid. Not catastrophic. But enough to force aggressive decisions. And aggression here? Always comes with consequences. But even that wasn't the real turning point. Because just hours later, everything changed. A massive crash. Multiple cars involved. And one driver didn't survive. The race stopped instantly. And the atmosphere shifted completely. Because in that moment, this wasn't just motorsport anymore. It was something heavier. Something that stays with you. Even when the engines start again. And here's where it becomes important. Because when Sunday arrives, Verstappen isn't just racing. He's carrying that weight. The pressure. The tension. The reality of what can happen on this track. And that changes everything. It changes how you approach corners. How you judge risk. How you react to the smallest detail. So when the race begins, this isn't a normal start. This is controlled intensity. Measured aggression. The kind of driving where you're always thinking one step ahead. And for a while, it works. The car feels stable. Predictable. Responsive. Everything under control. But here's the detail most people miss. At the Nürburgring, control is temporary. Because this track doesn't break you all at once. It waits. It watches. And then, it finds the smallest weakness. And when it does, everything changes. And that moment is closer than anyone realizes. And then, it happens. Not a crash. Not a dramatic moment. Something worse. A subtle change. The kind you feel before you understand. The front end stops responding the same way. Turn-in feels delayed. The car doesn't bite like it did before. It's small. Almost invisible. But at this level, that's all it takes. Because when the front of the car goes, everything follows. Balance disappears. Confidence drops. And suddenly, every corner becomes a risk. Now here's the critical moment. Most drivers stay out. They convince themselves it's manageable. They adapt. They push through. But Verstappen doesn't. He reacts instantly. Because he knows something most people don't. At the Nürburgring, you don't wait for confirmation. If something feels wrong, it already is. So he brings the car in. No hesitation. No second guessing. Straight to the pits. And at first, it looks normal. Like a routine stop. But then, everything changes. No quick tire change. No driver swap. Instead, the car is pulled into the garage. And that one detail tells you everything. This is serious. Because in endurance racing, once the car disappears behind those doors, you're no longer competing. You're trying to survive. The mechanics move immediately. No wasted time. No confusion. They go straight to the front. Because that's where the problem is. And what they find confirms the worst-case scenario. This isn't surface damage. It's deeper. The splitter, compromised. The structure, affected. Possibly even more. And here's why that matters. The front of a GT3 car is everything. Aerodynamics. Cooling. Stability. If that area fails, the entire car becomes unpredictable. At high speed. On the most unforgiving track in the world. Now the situation changes completely. This is no longer a quick fix. This is a full intervention. And the clock keeps moving. Minutes pass. Positions disappear. The race continues without them. And outside, Audi is taking control. Clean. Efficient. Untouchable. Exactly how you win here. Meanwhile, inside the garage, it's a different race. A race against time. Against uncertainty. Because here's the real problem. They don't fully know what caused it. And that changes everything. Because fixing damage is one thing. Understanding it is something else. Was it contact? A curb hit? Debris at speed? Or something hidden? Something that could happen again? And that doubt is the most dangerous part. Because now they're not just repairing. They're making a decision. A decision that could define the entire weekend. Maybe even more than that. Do they send the car back out without full certainty? Or do they stop here and protect what's left? There is no safe answer. Only risk. And what they choose next is the moment that changes this story completely. Inside that garage, the decision becomes unavoidable. They don't have enough time to be certain. They don't have enough data to be safe. But they do have something else. Pressure. Because this isn't just about finishing the race. This is about what comes next. The 24-hour race. The real objective. And suddenly, this damaged car is the only thing keeping that plan alive. If they don't go back out, there's a real chance everything is compromised. Starting from the back. Losing track position before it even begins. And at that level, that changes everything. So they make the call. Not the safe one. The necessary one. They rebuild the front of the car as fast as possible. Not perfectly, but enough. Enough to survive. The splitter is replaced. The bodywork adjusted. Critical components reinforced. Every movement, precise. Every second, critical. Because they know one thing. If they miss something, it won't fail in the garage. It will fail out there. At full speed. And that's the risk. Now the moment arrives. The car is ready. Or at least, ready enough. And for a second, everything goes quiet. Because everyone understands what this means. This is not a return to racing. This is a gamble. The engine starts. The car drops. And slowly, it rolls out of the garage. Back into the race. Back into danger. Now imagine being in that seat. You know the car was damaged. You know it was rebuilt under pressure. And you don't fully know if it will hold. That's the reality. And yet, he pushes. Not immediately. At first, it's controlled. Measured. Feeling the car. Understanding what's left and what's not. Every corner is information. Every braking zone, a test. But then something changes. Confidence. Not full confidence. But enough. Enough to start pushing again. And this is where everything becomes unbelievable. Because instead of just circulating, he starts attacking. Closing gaps. Pressuring cars ahead. And then, the first overtake. Clean. Precise. Unexpected. Then another. And another. On a track where overtaking is already a risk. He's doing it with a car that shouldn't even be out there. And that's when people realize, this isn't normal. This isn't recovery. This is something else entirely. Because every move he makes goes against logic. A damaged car should defend, protect, survive. But this one is advancing. And every overtake sends the same message. The damage didn't stop him. It changed nothing. Lap after lap, the car holds. Through high-speed sections. Through violent compressions. Places where even a perfect car struggles. And yet, it keeps going. Now the tension shifts again. Because the question is no longer, can he continue? It's how far he can take this. How much he can extract. From something that was already broken. And that's where the real danger appears. Because the more he pushes, the closer he gets to the limit. Not the normal limit. The hidden one. The one created by that damage. And if he crosses it, there is no recovery. No second chance. Just the end. And yet, he keeps pushing. And what happens next is the moment that turns this comeback into something no one in Formula One can ignore. And this is where everything reaches its limit. Because there's a moment in every race where pushing more stops giving you time and starts taking something away. The tires begin to fade. The temperatures rise. The car starts talking back. Not loudly. Subtly. A vibration here. A slight instability there. Small signals. But after everything this car has been through, those signals matter more than ever. Because this isn't just wear. This is stress building on damage. And Verstappen feels it. Of course he does. He's been managing it every lap. Adjusting lines. Modifying braking points. Protecting the front without losing speed. And that balance is almost impossible to maintain. Because to keep overtaking, you have to push. But to finish, you have to hold back. And now, those two things collide. Hard. Another car ahead. Slower. Defensive. The gap closes. Fast. This is not a safe overtake. Not here. Not with this car. But he goes for it. Late braking. Commitment. No hesitation. For a split second, everything hangs in the balance. Front grip. Stability. Trust. And then, it sticks. Clean. Controlled. Impossible. And that's the moment. The one that changes how everyone sees this drive. Because it's no longer about positions. It's about what shouldn't be possible. Happening anyway. A damaged GT3 car? Executing overtakes at the limit, on the most unforgiving circuit in the world, and making it look almost normal. But here's the truth. It's not normal. It's on the edge. Every lap now is a risk calculation. Every decision, a trade-off. Push, and you might gain more. Push too far, and it's over. And deep down, everyone knows it. The team, the engineers, the drivers watching. This can't last forever. Something has to give. But it doesn't. Not yet. Because Verstappen does something few drivers can. He adapts faster than the situation changes. He doesn't fight the car. He works with it. Finds what's left. Uses only that. Nothing more. Nothing unnecessary. And that's why it keeps going. Lap after lap. Against logic. Against expectation. Against everything that should have stopped it. And then, the realization hits. This isn't just a comeback. It's a message. To the paddock. To the teams. To Formula One itself. Because this drive proves something very few moments ever do. That performance isn't always about having the best car. Sometimes, it's about what you do when the car is no longer perfect. When the plan collapses. When the margin disappears. When all you have left is control. And that's what makes this dangerous. Not just impressive. Because if he can do this, here, with damage, then what happens when everything actually works? And that question is what stays with everyone after the race ends. Because the comeback was real. The overtakes were real. The risk was very real. But the most important part is still unresolved. What caused the failure? Because until that answer exists, this wasn't just an incredible drive. It was a warning. One that could return. At a bigger race. With higher stakes. Where there are no second chances. And when that moment comes, everything we just saw might only be the beginning.